Hi, everyone. Welcome to Radiant Living, Inspiring Humanity to Thrive. I'm your host, Marissa B. Today, I have with me certified financial planner, registered investment advisor, accredited wealth management advisor, certified money coach, Pamela Plick. With over 25 years of experience in the financial services industry, Pamela is on a mission to help women confidently build wealth from the inside out. Hi, Pamela. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Hi, Marissa. I'm honored to be here.
Well, I'm thrilled to have you because this is some subject. First, I'd like to ask you, so I'm sure the audience wants to know, because it's over 25 years, how did you get involved with the financial end of things, first of all?
Absolutely. And I want to start out by saying that I am so grateful to have a thriving practice that I love, doing the work that I feel called to do, and working with clients that I love to work with, not only with the financial freedom, but also with the freedom of time to spend doing the things I love and with family, as well as being able to support the causes that I'm passionate about. Now, that was not always the case. And
Mhm.
my um, catalyst for this journey began over 30 years ago, and it was with my divorce. At the time, I had just taken on an entry-level position in banking and finance. And my son was only 2 years old at
Mhm.
that time, and everything was planned except the divorce. Now, unfortunately, I did not have a practical financial plan at that
Mhm.
time. My goal was to work, or my strategy was to work really, really hard to get promoted. And then I'd
Mhm.
be able to, make more money and
Mhm.
also be able to spend more time with my son. And unfortunately, that's not what happened.
Right.
Granted, I did have a successful career. Yes, I climbed the corporate ladder. Yes, I was successful in terms of my career.
Mhm.
But fast forward, I was feeling burnt out, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually from all the
Mhm.
years of overwork. And my career was no longer fulfilling. And so, what I needed to do at that time was take a step back and gain some clarity
Mhm.
around what it was truly that I wanted to do. And I realized that I'd never asked myself that question.
Mhm.
All I knew, my work ethic came from my dad, my military dad. And, his philosophy was you work really hard
Mhm.
you have to work hard to get ahead. And so as I stepped back, I gained clarity, got support, but also needed to shift those limiting beliefs that I had, or beliefs that no
Mhm.
longer served me, like the belief that I had to work really, really hard in order to get ahead. And I understand why that was my dad's belief. You're in the
Mhm.
military, that was true, but I knew there was another way.
Mhm.
I also needed to practice forgiveness, not only forgiveness for my ex-husband. He was a good man, but forgiveness for him, but also forgiveness for
Mhm.
myself, because I at the time I perceived a divorce or being divorced as a failure. But looking back, I realized that was not the case, and truly it was the catalyst that propelled me to the journey that I'm on today.
Mhm.
So once I gained the clarity, then I also looked at how I was living my life that was
Mhm.
no longer aligned with my values, in terms of my finances and where I wanted to go. Also stepped into more education, became a
Mhm.
certified financial planner practitioner, as well as a certified money coach later on, because I truly knew that being in corporate America, all of my working career was not where I was supposed to be.
Mhm.
And so I decided that I wanted to be able to support other women who were similar, maybe not exactly going through a divorce, but for whatever reason, have gone through a transition or a life change. And
Mhm.
I really wanted to be able to support them. And so I became, when I started my own practice, as you mentioned, I made it my mission
Mm-hmm.
to empower women to confidently build wealth from the inside out. And that leads me to where I am today.
Mm-hmm. And that's a big tagline. First of all, let me preface this by saying this is a massive subject for probably all human beings, money,
Yes,
finances, for women in particular. And that the tagline that you have, it is so true, isn't it? From the inside out, because that's really what has to be worked on first. I mean, this is women in particular, correct? I mean, you're in the financial industry, you've been there a long time. Women I see don't even want to talk about money or don't know where to start to talk about it. Can you speak a little bit to that?
absolutely. And it's so true that in order to build our outer wealth, we have to build that inner wealth. And it really starts with our beliefs. We don't realize that our beliefs around money are imprinted upon us as children.
Mm-hmm.
It's really about, how money was talked about in your household, whether it was talked about, whether there was a feeling of lack or a feeling of
Mm-hmm.
prosperity. And we don't realize that those beliefs are instilled in us. And then as adults, it shows up
Mm-hmm.
in how we handle our day-to-day finances. And a lot of times with women, some of the key um, ways that I see that as women, we give away our power around money is, first of all, having someone else take care of our finances.
Yeah.
Maybe we grew up in a household where your mom was a stay-at-home mom, the dad was a breadwinner. He took care of all the finances, and it's interesting. I used to think that that was generational, but I still see that today where we're
Mm-hmm.
not engaged around their money. And so that's one, having someone else take care of their finances. And really, we shouldn't have we should not just blindly turn our finances over to anyone, whether it's a family member, a
Mm-hmm.
trusted advisor, whoever it might be. We need to be engaged around our money.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one is putting others' needs ahead of our own. As women,
Mm-hmm.
typically we are raised to be the nurturers, right? We're the caregivers. We take care of everyone else before we
Mm-hmm.
take care of ourselves. And I see that a lot, especially with women who are moms. We want to take care of our children, but putting others' needs ahead of our own. We need the best thing that we can do for our children or those that who are dependent upon us is to be financially have financial stability and
Mm-hmm.
build that long-term financial wealth so that we're not a burden to our family,
Mm-hmm.
in our later years. And then lastly, and this is the number one, honestly, mistake that I see that we make as women is procrastinating on financial decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And procrastination is usually around fear, the fear of making a mistake. And this
Mm-hmm.
one is so easily overcome because there's so many opportunities to get financial education, become more skillful in your finances.
Mm-hmm.
And then that builds that confidence for us to make those financial
Mm-hmm.
decisions.
I think that, well, first of all, I have to say that I recently joined a group that you have on Facebook, and I actually was listening to what you were saying. And, even as a professional woman, oftentimes I put things to the side and just a small little few minutes of listening, these few things, and it had to do with a lot of insurances, which I think that especially as women, we don't think about, but you really have to. And just that few minutes of listening. And now I've made it a point to listen at least 3, 4 times a week because it's always wonderful to learn something new, and it pertains to my growth as far as the future. Most of my future is less than my past was, but still, I always remember as a young child that there were people who would say, I hope that my money outlasts me, because they were always in fear. It was a fear mentality of not having enough money to survive. And currently, it's something that you have to think about. Will I be able to fund things that might come up in my older years? Because there are medical issues, health issues, financial issues. I mean, will I be able to fund that? So I've made it a point to listen now on a weekly basis. I find it important to learn these things that I never thought about. I mean, yes, I pay bills in the home, and that's the setup that I have with my husband. Other people do it the other way, as you said, where the male takes care of the finances. I mean, I pay that, but I never thought of the financial structure. That's why I love that was you were a wealth management advisor. That term to me was just wonderful, because we should be thinking of our wealth, our health, our wealth, our well-being. And so I want to speak a little bit to that, because on a regular basis you do these talks, and of course I know you've been in Huffington Post, Forbes magazine. I mean, I know you've written a book. There's so much to talk about here, because you really are the go-to woman for other women to learn about their financial stability. So could you speak a little bit to that, about the programming that you do, and the Facebook, for example, how you do these talks? I know you also have a network that you're on.
Absolutely. I want to, before I do that, I want to mention, it's a great strategy that you have. You said you make it a point to listen, to, learn something new each week. I think that's a great strategy. Something easy that a woman can do is to read at least one piece of financial information a day, whether it's an article, watch a video, whatever it is, just one piece, one piece, so that, it builds that confidence in your knowledge, because one of the things that I do hear from women at times is that they don't even know what to ask if they're working with another advisor. They don't even know the questions to ask. And so, make it a point to get yourself educated. And there are some great, not only websites, some websites that specialize in financial information, because you don't want a website that's trying to sell you something.
Right.
You want a website, you want to go to a source that's really wanting to educate you. Community is another way. You talked about, my private Facebook community, which is Rise to Your Money Power. And, where you are surrounded by like-minded women who are on a similar journey. They may be, some may be ahead of others, but you're on a similar path, to get more, to create a more empowered relationship with your money. And I think that is so important. One of the things also that I made it a point to do is I educate my clients, because I believe an educated client is a better client. And I've had clients that, said to me, "Oh, Pamela, whatever you're recommending, I'm good with it. It's okay. Just do it." And I said, "No, we're partners in this relationship. And at the end of the day, it's your money." Now, you don't have to necessarily understand all the ins and outs of every investment. If you have a portfolio, all of the, every single investments, but you do need to understand the strategy and why, why your advisor is recommending what they're recommending. And that way you can ask those informed questions and be sure that you're working with an advisor that is okay with you asking questions and is okay with educating you, because I truly believe that's so important. It's a collaborative effort. And, I am so adamant about education that, like you
Hmm.
mentioned, yes, I have my book. I participated in either four or five, I think, collaborative
Hmm.
books. But I felt like I had a message.
Hmm.
I still have this message that I want to get out into the world, and so I wrote my own book, Rise to Your Money Power, a step-by-step guide to building the foundation
Hmm.
of an empowered relationship with money. And, I believe that having that foundation is so important, because one of the objections that I hear from women, there's a quote that I absolutely love from the Dalai Lama. The Dalai
Hmm.
Lama said, "The Western woman will save the world."
Hmm.
And it may not just be the Western woman, but there's no better time in history to
Hmm.
be a woman. And the world needs our unique gifts. And the biggest objection that I hear from women as to why they're not able to bring their unique gifts into the world in a
Hmm.
bigger, bolder way is around money.
Hmm.
Whether, I don't know if I can make money doing what I really love, or if they're in business, I'm not sure if, I can't charge what I'm worth because
Hmm.
I may lose clients. I'm not good with money,
Hmm.
all of these things that are beliefs that are not true, and we need to learn how to shift it. And then the other thing is, you mentioned, for those that are part of a couple,
Hmm.
it's so important that both of you
Hmm.
um, be engaged around your money. Now, usually there is one person in the household that takes care of the day-to-day finances,
Hmm.
but either of you should be able to step in the
Hmm.
event of an emergency and
Right.
know what's going on, right? Um, and I just think that's so important. I wrote a blog post a while ago, talking money with your honey,
Hmm.
and just suggesting that you have a date night,
Hmm.
where you update your finances, and,
Yes.
because you do need to have a shared vision, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. But
I
you need to know what's going on. I remember when I
absolutely.
was younger, one of my parents' neighbors, her husband, he had a wonderful, successful business and he died suddenly. She had absolutely no idea where anything was. She barely knew how to get to his business, let alone where he kept the cash at the bank, which bank, where the checkbooks were in the home. She was totally lost. It was sad.
Yes, and and it causes so much stress.
Yes.
And then you're not really able to grieve, because you're so worried about
Yes.
the finances and what's next, or how am I going to
Hmm.
do what it is I need to do. And that is just so also easily overcome
Hmm.
by making sure that you sit down and you talk about the finances on a
Hmm.
periodic basis, and you each know what's going on
Hmm.
related to your finances.
Oh, yes. Oh, no, I have to agree. And but there is a big stigma here with women in finance. Many women, as you said a few moments ago, they are fearful, because they are concerned that they may charge too much for what they're doing, how their businesses run, that things may cost too much. And so they're fearful. Um, how, how would, how should a woman start? What's the best thing to do?
In terms of overcoming that fear,
Yes. And
yes.
actually put one foot forward. Where would be the best, other than reading, begin to read articles or watch videos? What's the best thing to do? I know you offer some programs, which I'm actually quite excited about. And you actually offer a quiz for
I
people to take a quiz, because I thought that was pretty ingenious, because really many of us we don't even speak about it, let alone look at it on paper, or in this instance on a screen, the wording in front of you. It's powerful when you're just going to take that few minutes to look and read and really think about everything. So where would one start as a, say, a woman?
absolutely. And I believe the best place to start is to understand or create your vision. I think our vision is our compass.
Mhm.
What is it that, you want your life to look like? Because money actually touches every area of our
Mhm.
life, right? Um, and, I truly believe that our personal relationship with money directly impacts how
Mhm.
successful we are, not only in our personal lives, but also in our businesses as well.
Mhm.
But it does start with that vision. I suggest that women create a big grand vision for all areas of their life, definitely in financial, but
Mhm.
where, what, let's say 5 years from now,
Mhm.
yeah, what is you want your life to look like? How much money do you have?
Mhm.
Where are you living? What does your business look like if you're self-employed,
Mhm.
or maybe you are in corporate America, but your
Mhm.
goal is to transition from corporate
Mhm.
America to start your own business? Where are you living? Whatever that big grand
Mhm.
vision is. And that way, it gives you that compass. It guides you
Mhm.
on where you're going,
Mhm.
and it guides your decisions as well. And I also want to mention, I actually have 5 quick steps. So,
Mhm.
the first one is to trust your vision. I think the second one is to let go of beliefs that no longer serve you.
Mhm.
Like we talked about, I'm not good
Mhm.
with money. Let go of those limiting beliefs. And when we talk about having a good relationship with money, there are actually 3 pillars of money
Mhm.
that we need to address. We need to address the spiritual, the emotional,
Mhm.
and the practical,
Mhm.
because we all know, the practical things we need to do. We need
Right.
to build, create a retirement account, create an emergency fund, whether,
Mhm.
we need to live within our means. But if we are not doing those things, um, then there's something that needs to be
Mhm.
addressed in the spiritual and the emotional
Mhm.
side. And the beliefs can be not only, from your usually they are imprinted from the
Mhm.
people that raised us,
Mhm.
whoever were our primary caregivers,
Mhm.
but whether it's our parents, grandparents, whoever,
Mhm.
but also it's cultural. It can be cultural.
Mhm.
It can be religious,
Mhm.
and there's a wide range of beliefs. So letting
Mhm.
go of those beliefs that no longer serve us. And you mentioned my quiz. I have a free
Mhm.
money type quiz. And I believe, it's an easy way to understand what your current relationship is
Mhm.
with money. And that way you can say, okay, these are the beliefs that I have. Now, where did those beliefs originate from?
Mhm.
And how can I shift them? And the good news is our beliefs, our limiting beliefs or beliefs in general are not ours. They're
Mhm.
generational.
Mhm.
So we look at, if it no longer serves me, let's shift it.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then the third step that, is to actually cultivate a prosperity mindset.
Mhm.
And the number one way to cultivate that prosperity mindset is by practicing gratitude, because
Mhm.
whatever you appreciate appreciates.
Right.
And so whether one great practice might be to create your a prosperity journal or gratitude
Mhm.
journal, and just think about at the end of the day, make it part of your ritual,
Mhm.
every day, to list at least 3 things that you're grateful for
Mhm.
that day. And even if it's, maybe it was a challenging day,
Mhm.
and you just say, well, you know what? I'm grateful that I'm able to start again tomorrow,
Right.
but
Right.
something that you're grateful for.
Mhm.
And then knowing that number 4 is to get support. Um,
Yes.
if you need support, because a lot of times with women, we don't want to ask for support because we
Mhm.
see it as a sign of weakness.
Mhm.
It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of
Right.
strength, because we don't want to wear that badge of honor. How many times have you heard, oh, she's a strong woman?
Right.
Yeah, that's well and good, but that's not a compliment all the time.
Right. Right.
right? So making sure that we get that support that we need. And then lastly, take inspired action. So whatever that next step is for you, whether it's to get a mentor, whether it's to join a community of like-minded women to get that additional support you need, or whether it's to gain additional education, attend a workshop, right? Or
Yes.
a webinar, whatever it might, read a book, take inspired action, because, action is our launch pad to help us get to where we want to be long
Oh,
term.
yes. Yes. Right. Oh, absolutely. Because as we all know, intentions are one thing, but, call to action to bring those intentions to fruition, that has to be a part of it also. And I agree with you. That's why I was so thrilled that you were coming on, because this whole aspect of finances and money has to go hand in hand with uh, building your spiritual backbone, building your emotional backbone, and your practical one. I know a lot of people are not as practical as others may be, but like you said, the three pillars, they have to all be addressed. And I always find that financial end of it, or the money end of it, always seems to slip by the wayside. So I thought it was so important to discuss it, because there's no shame in money. It, as we say, it's energy. It's a means to an end. It's energy. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And, I always, my philosophy is also, we have to focus on what we can control, right? And we don't want to beat ourselves up for what we did, what we didn't do or didn't know. There's another, a quote that I love. Dr. Maya Angelou said, when you know better, you do better. So, you can't beat yourself up, for
That's
what
right.
you just start from today and focus on what you can control. But again, it comes from that big vision, because if you don't have a vision, then you don't know where you're going, right? But if you have a vision, or if you need help getting, creating that vision, get help with that as well. But that,
Yes.
know where you want to go. And then you can take that inspired action, to get you to, to take the next step to get you to where you want to be long term.
Now, let me ask you, first of all, where can we get your book? That's the first question.
Well, it's on Amazon, and you can.
I will put a link to that. Definitely
Okay,
put a link to that
yeah.
in the description section. Then I'd like to know, because you do have a quiz, I'd like to know a little bit about that. How, I know that you offer different types of programs to many of us that might be looking to jump in and find out how to finally start to deal with our finances. Can you give me a little bit about that, some information about that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I actually have two sides to my practice. I have the money mastery as well as the wealth strategy side, or the financial planning and wealth strategy side. And so for clients that already have a great relationship with money, and they're just wanting a roadmap to get from where they are to where they want to be long term, that's my financial planning side. I prepare comprehensive financial plans. Now, on the money coaching and money mastery side, that is where I offer my programs. And the entry level to work with me is typically through my group programs, and they are by invitation, because again, we're talking about merging what I do is I train women to merge the three pillars of money,
Right.
so that they can create, the long-term financial freedom that they want. And I have an 8-week program. It's called Unleash Your Inner CEO, and it empowers women business owners, specifically coaches, consultants, and service providers, to build a thriving, to thrive financially and become a cash confident CEO, not only of their business, but of their life. And
Mhm.
it's an awesome, awesome program.
Mhm.
It's amazing the transformation that, these women CEOs go through
Mhm.
when they go through the program. And then I have a longer program, my 6-month program, which is Unlock Your Money Power DNA, where a blueprint, Unlock Your
Mhm.
Money Power DNA blueprint, where we take a deeper dive into what your money beliefs are.
Mhm.
We start with your money archetypes, and I'll talk a little bit about those in a minute. But your money archetypes, what were the limiting beliefs that
Mhm.
you had growing up? Where did they originate? And how can you shift them? Give my clients tools and strategies
Mhm.
to be able to shift those beliefs. Once they're able to shift, or even because sometimes, 95% of our thoughts are unconscious. So we can't control what we're going to think, right? But
Right.
we can control our actions. And so how do we control that when those thoughts, that mind chatter comes up?
Mhm.
And once we've done that, then we create a strategy, an action plan, for the foundation to
Mhm.
create the financial freedom that they want, whether it's personally or in their business,
Mhm.
whatever that might be. So that's my 6-month program.
Now, is
And
that also by invitation, the 6-month program?
it is, yes. And but the invitation is to have a call with me,
Yes.
breakthrough call where we can really look at, and the
Mhm.
basis is looking at what are your beliefs right now,
Mhm.
your current relationship with money. The easy way to understand that is by
Mhm.
taking the money type quiz.
Mhm.
And I want to just quickly mention too that there are 8 money archetypes.
Mhm.
And I want to say that the money archetypes are not who we are. It's
Mhm.
not our personality, but
Right.
it's where we are energetically and
Mhm.
in our lives at the time we take the
Mhm.
quiz. And so there's the one archetype is the innocent,
Mhm.
and I use the analogy, the ostrich with the head in the sand.
Mhm.
It's like, I don't want to deal with money.
Right.
I just want let somebody else take care of it. And what's interesting, I mentioned that, our relationship with money direct it impacts not only
Mhm.
us personally, but in our businesses. So thinking about for those who are business owners out there,
Mhm.
how are my money beliefs impacting my business?
Yes.
So the innocent, the second archetype is the victim,
Mhm.
blaming someone else or blaming situations
Right.
or where you are. If it wasn't for my divorce, I'd be better
Mhm.
off financially, right?
Right.
My parents never taught me about money. And the warrior, which is one of the 3 archetypes that we want to aspire to,
Right.
the warrior takes action. The warrior creates that action
Mhm.
plan, takes the steps. So we want to aspire to being, to having the warrior
Mhm.
archetype. And then the fourth is the fool. The
Mhm.
fool is like a gambler, right? The
Yeah.
fool takes action,
Mhm.
but they don't necessarily research
Right.
make informed decisions. So
Mhm.
thinking about that in your personal life and in your business, what
Right.
decisions am I making? And then the martyr, number 5 is the martyr. A lot of women have the martyr archetype,
Mhm.
again, because we're raised to be the nurturers, we're raised to be the
Mhm.
caretakers. The martyr actually are so busy taking care of others' needs
Mhm.
that they're too busy to take care of their own. And then the creator artist. The creator artist has like a love-hate relationship
Mhm.
with money. They have one foot in the spiritual world, one
Mhm.
foot in the physical world. And interestingly enough, the creator artist is the second of the archetypes that we do aspire to, but
Mhm.
a lot of times some people have overweighted in the creator artist.
Right. The
A lot,
shadow part, right? The shadow part they
yes,
call it.
and I see a lot of
Mhm.
healers
Yes.
or spiritual entrepreneurs
Mhm.
have a lot of creator artists. I just want to do my work. I just want to help people. I don't want to think about money,
Mhm.
but we live in a physical world,
That's
right?
right.
And if we strive to live an abundant life, part of
Hmm.
that abundance is financial prosperity.
Hmm.
And you don't have to keep it, the money, if you don't want to keep it, as long as you're
Right.
making sure your needs are taken care of,
Right.
you can give it away. But the more money you
Hmm.
make, the more good you can do in the world.
Right.
And then there's the tyrant. The tyrant, if you've
Mm-hmm.
ever met anyone who uses money to control people, events, that's the tyrant.
Hmm.
I'll loan you this money, but I want to know what you're going to do with it.
Hmm.
And you need to, then they want to put parameters on it.
Yes.
So that's a tyrant. And then lastly is the magician. So the magician is the third of the
Hmm.
three archetypes that we aspire to. I mentioned the warrior, the creator
Hmm.
artist, and the third one is the magician. And the magician is the ideal archetype because the magician is the manifester,
Hmm.
which it's is ideal. But remember, the universe is an active universe.
Hmm.
You can't just ask for or say, oh, I know everything's going to be
Exactly.
taken care of without doing your part, without
Hmm.
taking that inspired action. Because whenever
Hmm.
you take inspired action, the universe is going to rise to meet you.
Right.
So, looking at these 8 archetypes,
Hmm.
and there's not just one. Usually there's the like you mentioned, the shadow.
Hmm.
I use the
Hmm.
analogy of a car, a financial car. So the dominant archetypes are the ones that are in the front seat.
Hmm.
Now, if you've ever been driving anywhere, there's someone you had someone in the back seat telling you where to go.
Yes.
Those are the shadow archetypes
Hmm.
that are interfering
Right.
with what you need to do. Or
Hmm.
let's say, for example, you put a time, you put it on your calendar that every Friday, maybe it's Financial Friday, that you blocked out some time that I'm going to review my finances on
Hmm.
Friday. Now, that's the warrior because you're taking action.
Hmm.
And now the innocent might be in the back seat saying, you know what? You don't need to look at your finances today. You don't need to check your online banking or
Hmm.
update your business financials because you know what? No, it's not going to matter anyway. Or maybe we
Hmm.
could just do it next week, right?
Yeah.
So thinking about what comes up and identifying
Hmm.
what archetype is it, and is it a
Yes.
positive or an archetype that's interfering? So I think it's just so amazing if we
Hmm.
think about it like that, and then it's easier to be able to shift
Yes.
those thoughts or shift those beliefs to stay on.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Now, lastly, I want to talk about your program because you're on a network, right? Win Win Women. And
Yes,
where can people watch the program? Because of course, I would suggest that we listen to you and hear what you have to say on your program. And can you explain a little bit about what you're doing with your program and when is it on and where can we find it?
absolutely, absolutely. I have a wonderful show, and it's actually a live show. It's named after my book, Rise to Your Money Power, and it's where we have honest conversations to empower women around their relationship with money. And the show is live on Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific.
Mhm.
The first 30 minutes, I'm doing, I'm teaching or
Mhm.
presenting. And then I stop the recording, turn off the recording. And then whoever is there live, we
Mhm.
have a conversation about that topic. And I really love it. And it's on the Win. If you want to join live, it's on the
Mhm.
winwinwomen.tv network.
Mhm.
And if you just go to pamelaplick.com/thank you,
Mhm.
for the listeners that are or the participants that are watching
Mhm.
this show, it has the link to the show.
Mhm.
It also has the link to the money type quiz as well. And so, but if you miss it, you can. It's also on my YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. I'd like to put all that in the description so
Okay.
people, of course, your
Absolutely.
website, of course, so that people
Yes.
can see the programs, what you offer, and of course, the network itself, so that they can see where they can catch, especially if they can't see it, that they definitely can get on the YouTube channel, to
Yes.
see
The
anything. Of
replay.
course, I'm sure of the replays that even what was
Yes.
there before. Yes.
Yes. And I also want to mention the show is streamed. It's streamed live on
Hmm.
Roku, Amazon
Hmm.
Fire, as well as Apple TV. So, and that's on the winwinwomen.tv
Hmm.
channel on either
Yes.
streaming channels. And it's a wonderful platform, and I'm just so grateful and blessed that I'm able to
Hmm.
share, have the different opportunities to share
Yes.
my message and just empower women, around our relationship with money.
Mhm. And if there's one thing to say to the audience today, where some words of wisdom, the first step, what would you think would be the best thing for them to do? I mean, I don't want to say just women, because of course men and women
Mhm.
watch this, and there are men that have issues around money, but more so women. Um, where what would you tell them? What are your words of wisdom that you would tell them? Where should they start to hear about the capability of dealing with money on a better note, on their placing it in their vision?
Yes, you know what? And really it is, I would say the best place to start is to take some time and create your vision. How do you want your life to look? Um, and really just, and starting from where you are.
Mhm.
Again, I met so many people that want to, beat themselves up for maybe they think they're not as far along as they should be, or I have a successful business but I'm feeling stuck.
Mhm.
Just start from where you are,
Mhm.
don't beat yourself up, and create that big vision, and then take inspired action from there, because it will come, it'll come up, you
Mhm.
know. So, and I also want to mention, even though, I help men as well
Mhm.
on the financial planning side. I love
Yes.
men, but I just feel that we're underserved when it comes to
Mhm.
financial services. And so that's why I have a passion for helping
Mhm.
women. And even in the forward in my book, I say, even though this book was written with women
Mhm.
in mind, men
Mhm.
can certainly benefit,
Oh, sure.
from the book as well. So I just want to say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Oh, no, no, of course. No, yes. Um, I'm I'm glad you clarified that, because we are speaking specifically about women for this moment. But yes, of course, men are dealing with finance all the time, and there are men that possibly feel the same way. And so everyone should have a big vision and start with their big vision and see
Absolutely.
what they want their life to look like. But I know that with women, we are fearful maybe to even bring it up often. So we really don't know where to start. Um,
Yes.
that's why I found it important to listen weekly, try to make sure to listen, to bring that more into my life. Being a professional person, you're dealing with courses and workshops, and you're doing things that pertain to your business or your job. But I wanted to bring that more into my life, because I think it goes hand in hand. We can't negate the fact that we live in a world where we haven't created this system, but the system exists, and we're forced to work within the system. So there's no reason to bring all the negativity with it.
Absolutely. And that's why I think it's so important too for women to be part of a community, a safe space, to be able to learn
Mhm.
without judgment, and also to get support if they need support. And so I'm going to plug again my Rise Your Money Power
Mhm.
Facebook community, which
I
is
was going to ask,
wonderful.
can anybody get, I mean, I know I'm sure there's certain questions, but can anybody come in and join so that they can start to become involved with the community?
Yes, it is. Now, this community is for purpose-driven women,
Hmm.
women entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs,
Hmm.
or with an entrepreneurial spirit,
Hmm.
who
Right.
are striving to create a more empowered relationship with money while building a thriving business,
Mhm.
or thrive in their profession. So absolutely, they're welcomed. We'd love to have them in the group, and I do offer weekly Facebook lives, teaching
Mhm.
topic, and just an opportunity also to connect,
Mhm.
connect and to stay informed on what might be coming up down the
Yeah.
road, that's something that they might be interested in attending,
Mhm.
as
Well, I
well.
definitely will put that in the description as well. That the link
Okay.
to the Facebook group, I will definitely put that. And I want to ask what's next for you, because of course you're so busy and I know you have your program. What's next for you?
What's next for me is I am really excited. I have an event that's coming up in June, and it's actually going to be on Wednesday, June the 5th. And I'm so excited that you're actually going to be part of that as well, one of my speakers and co-hosts. And it's called CEO Money Mindset. And it doesn't necessarily just mean CEO of your
Right.
business, but CEO of your finances,
Hmm.
in your business and life. And I'm bringing together a wonderful group of speakers, women who are experts in different areas and
Hmm.
modalities of how to create a more empowered relationship so that
Hmm.
you can cultivate that CEO money mindset. And so more information on that soon, but
Hmm.
it's
Oh, and I
something
will put that out there too. I will put that
that I've
out there
been wanting to
definitely.
do that for a while. It's, been on my heart to do, and I'm just so excited that it's coming up.
Oh, that's wonderful. I definitely will put that out there. And I do want to thank you so much for coming on. I know you're so busy, and I so appreciate you coming to speak to the audiences. I think this is really an important topic, one that we kind of shy away from or almost feel embarrassed about.
Absolutely. And there's no need to be embarrassed. Again, just creating a safe space
Hmm.
to ask those questions,
Yes.
and that's another belief,
Hmm.
my question might be stupid, or I don't want
Oh,
to ask
yes.
it,
How
you
many
might
think
think
that?
that I'm weak. No, that's how you learn.
Hmm.
And so I encourage that,
Yeah.
and I'd love to hear from anyone, so if you'd like to talk, want to talk about your situation, I the link that you're going to
Hmm.
put in
Yes.
under the video, the
Mm-hmm.
pamelaplick.com/thank you. There's also a link to my free money power breakthrough call, where we will talk about what are the current
Hmm.
potential blocks that are holding you back,
Hmm.
and what's your next inspired step to begin to create the financial freedom and
Hmm.
impact that you desire.
Yes. And I would like to tell everybody it is, and I thank you for offering that. It is a free call. And I would encourage everyone um to 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 take you up on that. Even to just start the conversation, especially if you're fearful, just to start the conversation, it you'd be quite surprised. So I do implore people to do that because you take the first step for you.
Absolutely. Yes, it's so important to just take that first
Mhm.
step.
Yes. Well, thank you again, Pamela, for coming on today. I look forward to listening to you, many more conversations on finances and what I can learn personally.
Well, thank you. I'm just honored and excited to be here today, and I love the work that you're doing,
Oh,
and
thank you.
it's wonderful to be able to share my message with your community.
Well, thank you again. Have a wonderful afternoon and hope to speak with you soon.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.
Hi, everyone. Marissa B. here from Radiant Living. If you like what we're doing and want to keep the conversations going, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know every time we upload a video. Thank you.